8 suitcases packed and ready to go to Bangkok, Thailand, filled with gifts, among other essential necessities. Scott's coworker Greg Brill picked us up early on December 19th and drove us to the airport. We left Chicago at around noon, flew to Tokyo where we had a short layover, and then on to Bangkok where we landed at approximately 11:30 p.m. We then headed to our hotel for the night, Paragon Inn in Bangkok. As you can see, everyone was wide awake with excitement. Since we arrived to the Paragon Inn in the middle of the night, we didn't have a good idea of what it really looked like. Benjamin was so excited to see C, he took off early in the morning to join her. While he was gone, Scott, Emily, and Juliana explored the hotel surroundings and ate breakfast before checking out. The Thai culture typically uses bidets in their restrooms. Never forget your toilet paper. The first step in the marriage process was for Benjamin and C to get certified copies of important documents like Benjamin's passport at the U.S. Embassy. We weren't able to get pictures any closer to the building because of official reasons. So here is everyone outside around some greenery. This beautiful mural was just outside the U.S. Embassy, and of course Juliana just had to pose in front of it. While Benjamin and C were at the U.S. Embassy doing their official business, Scott, Emily, and Juliana took a walk through Lumpini Park, where they saw lots of nature and local wildlife. These are everywhere, Mike. He's like 10 feet from me. Juliana, I'm taking a video, you ding dong.
They're trusting, aren't they?
They're like turtles here at this park. They're everywhere.
There he goes.
I don't know, how long do you think he is? 3.5 feet, 4?
Yeah, 3.5 feet.
Later that afternoon, we checked into the Churn Hotel located in Old Town, Bangkok. This would be our hotel for the rest of our stay in Bangkok. Later that afternoon, we visited one of the many malls in Bangkok, where we did a little bit of shopping, got our SIM cards for our cell phones, and explored some of the Christmas decorations that they had displayed. Transportation could be challenging at times when the taxi only had room for 4 people, but there were 5 of us. You can see Juliana's not entirely excited about this since she had to sit on Emily's lap a lot of the times. That evening, as Scott took a walk to find some food for Juliana, he took some pictures of a nearby temple called Wat Sukkot, known for the red giant swing that stands at its entrance. This is one of the oldest and most impressive temples in Bangkok. This temple's construction was commissioned by King Rama I to shelter the 13th century bronze Buddha image, which was transported by boat from Sukhothai, but it was finally completed during King Rama III's reign. The next day, while Benjamin and C were visiting with some friends, Scott, Emily, and Juliana visited the Golden Mount. There they climbed 344 stairs to the top, where they had a beautiful panoramic view of the city of Bangkok. As we descended the steps of the Golden Mount, we came across a monument honoring those who had died in the 1890 cholera outbreak that spread throughout Southeast Asia. Of course, Juliana had to get in some pets with one of the many dogs you see roaming the streets of Bangkok. Scott, Emily, and Juliana took a short ferry ride to another temple called Wat Arun, or Temple of the Dawn. Following that, they took a tuk-tuk all the way back to the hotel. Juliana loved the tuk-tuk ride. Everyone met back up at the hotel later and relaxed, playing several games of Yahtzee. The next morning, Scott and Emily took a walk at a local park called Romney. This park used to be a prison, but it has since been turned into the Bangkok Correctional Museum, and the exercise grounds have been turned into a park. Later that day, we all took the water taxi to meet up with Pitai, and some other friends for lunch. Benjamin treated everyone with ice cream cones from Dairy Queen for dessert. At some point during the day, we were at another mall and Juliana found a prom dress. The next day, we went on a very long hunt for a nail salon for Juliana to get her nails done. And of course, we did more shopping, where Benjamin found his Ray-Ban sunglasses that he'd been wanting so desperately. We all had a nice dinner at the mall, and then we went to a store called the Big C. It's kind of like the US version of Walmart. Here they have all of their meat out in the open for anybody to scoop up and measure at their own leisure. That would never fly here in the States. The next morning was Christmas morning. C, Emily, and Benjamin all wore their night before Christmas pajamas, while Juliana and Scott bailed on the tradition this year. C was able to open up all the presents that we brought over from the States. Presents from Mima and Papa, Mimi and Granddaddy, and, of course, Scott, Emily, Benjamin, and Juliana. We then headed to Bangkok's famous weekend market. They have everything from soap to food to animals and, yes, to prom dresses. Juliana found another prom dress. The weekend market was another highlight of the trip in Bangkok. Benjamin and C spent some time exploring Old Town that evening on their own. The next day, Scott went with Benjamin and C to the Foreign Affairs office, where Benjamin and C were approved to get married. Following the visit to the Foreign Affairs office, Scott, C, and Benjamin visited the Grand Palace. This was on Scott's bucket list of things to do while in Thailand. They explored the beautiful grounds with all the beautifully trimmed trees, the temples, the murals, and of course, you can't pass up the Emerald Buddha. And of course, they had to celebrate being approved to get married with a meal out. While Scott, Benjamin, and C were doing their thing, Emily and Juliana hung out by the pool, ate at McDonald's, got a Thai massage, and visited 7-Eleven for Juliana to get a new Princess toothbrush, since Emily kept getting hers confused with Juliana's. Moral of the story, always make sure you know whose toothbrush is whose. That night, we switched out our luggage at C's apartment and went across the street to a market they have every evening for dinner. They have everything from insects to fresh fruit, fresh seafood, meat, and some really fun desserts you can choose from. The dessert that Scott is eating is basically like cotton candy, only in string form, and you put it inside of a crepe. Very yummy. The morning of December 28th, we checked out of the Churn Hotel in Bangkok, boarded a bus that would take us to Pattaya, and checked in to the Glow Hotel. Here, we would spend a few days meeting C's family and celebrating the upcoming marriage of Benjamin and C. That evening, the Rettig family joined C and her mother Gun and dock for a beautiful sunset on Pattaya Beach. Following the sunset, we met the rest of C's family for dinner. This included her two sisters, Som, Sue, Sue's boyfriend Jack, her grandmother Laud, and her father Arun. The next day, we all took taxis to Bali Pier, hopped aboard a speedboat that took us to Koh Larn Island, where we spent the day basking in the sun, riding banana boats, and exploring nature. The following morning, everyone gathered in the hotel lobby where the Rettigs shared gifts that they brought from the U.S. for everyone. Pictures were also taken in celebration for the upcoming marriage of Benjamin and C. Later that morning, Benjamin, C, Scott, Emily, and Juliana did some exploring on their own. They visited the big Buddha temple and introduced C to miniature golf for the very first time. It was the hardest miniature golf course any of us had ever played. After miniature golf, we met Som, C's grandmother, Gun, and Doc at the Route 66 diner, where everybody had strawberry milkshakes for the first time, and C's grandmother had pancakes for the first time, which she absolutely loved. The next morning, we checked out of the Glow Hotel, said goodbye to everyone, headed back to Bangkok, and went back to C's apartment to switch our luggage around yet again. That evening, we went to the train station where we boarded a sleeper train to take us to Chiang Mai.
Setting up Emily and Joanna's bunks. Turn them into beds for them whenever they feel like going to sleep. Military. That's cool. Donna picked the top bunks that she wanted to be on the top. That's cool.
Once we arrived in Chiang Mai, we boarded a passenger van that took us on a 3-hour drive through the mountains with 762 curves. Here you can see the resident cat made herself quite at home on Juliana's bed. Pai is known for several things. One of these things is their walking street. This street closes to traffic every night from 6 to 10 p.m. They have local artists, local chefs, local craftsmen, and even cannabis and weed. The next day, a red truck picked up Scott and Emily for an afternoon tour around Pai. Their first stop was the Buddha on the hill that had so many stairs, Emily's legs were shaking for the rest of the day. They also visited Yun Lao Viewpoint, the Chinese Village, I Love You Pai Cafe, the Land Split, Pembuk Waterfall, the Bamboo Bridge, and finally Pai Canyon for sunset. While Emily and Scott were on their afternoon tour, Juliana, C, and Benjamin went ziplining. Benjamin's not a fan of heights necessarily, and C got stuck. It made for an interesting day. The next day, Scott, Emily, and Juliana went to Tom's elephant camp. Visiting the elephants was the one thing Juliana wanted to do most while in Thailand.
Cut now. Are they yours? No. I just live here. Oh, okay. For a while. They're Tom. I'm not Tom. The hat. Everyone thinks I'm Tom because of the hat.
After being introduced to the elephants, we followed them down the road to the field where they ate until their bellies were full. We then followed them to the river where they got their daily baths.
That's awesome. I've never.
That's out, pal.
Wow.
What's up, pal?
It is cold, Juliana.
It's really cold.
There you go.
It'll wake you up.
Oh, yeah.
That'll get you.
Can't miss it, though.
Woo.
Don't miss this opportunity.
That'll take care of you. That'll get you. There you go. That's awesome.
We finished our time with the elephants in a hot springs pool with water pumped in from the natural hot springs near Pi. While Scott, Emily, and Juliana were busy playing with elephants, Benjamin gave C her engagement/wedding ring. The diamond came from a necklace that has belonged to Benjamin's grandmother, Susan Boyer. On our last night in Pi, we went to a quaint little Italian restaurant to eat, where we celebrated the upcoming marriage of Benjamin and C again. They got to open up some envelopes with wedding gifts inside from Mima and Papa and Mimi and Granddaddy. After traveling 3 hours and 762 curves to get back to Chiang Mai, everyone relaxed with a Thai massage. It's customary to have your feet washed before beginning the massage. Later that night, we took a plane back to Bangkok, but not before Emily sprained her ankle. The next day was January 5th, 2023. This was the day everyone had been waiting for. Benjamin and C were finally able to get married. As you can see, getting married in Thailand to a foreigner is kind of like getting married at a DMV office. Those present were C's sister Sue, her boyfriend Jack, her longtime childhood friend Ping Ping Cha, Scott, Emily, and Juliana. We are all ecstatic that C is part of our family now.